Tomorrow, the church celebrates the feast of St. Francis de Sales, a doctor of the church, the French saint, a patron of Christian unity, helping to bring thousands of Protestants back to the Catholic Church. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday evening, January 23rd. I'm Brian Patrick, and the annual Week of Prayer for Christian Unity ends this Sunday. Many Christian communities, including Catholics, have been holding prayer services with members of other denominations. The Pope hosted a delegation of Lutherans from Finland this week. He talked about times of mistrust, insecurity, and suffering. He told the group, quote, "A shared Christian witness is very much needed." Cardinal Kurt Koch, who heads the Vatican's Council for Promoting Christian Unity, agrees.
We have needs the blessing one another in the Ecumenical Dialogue, and I think there's a very beautiful sign for deepen the friendship and the brotherhood.
Here in the U.S., resources for the Week of Prayer are being put out by the Franciscan Friars of the Atonement. There's a unique theme each year and scripture readings for each day. You can learn more at geii.org. Father John Crossin is Consultor for the Pontifical Council for Promoting Christian Unity. He directs the U.S. Catholic Bishop's Office for Ecumenical Dialogue. On what levels can we build bridges with other faith communities?
Well, there tends to be a progression, Brian, in building the bridges. First of all, you get to know people as friends, share maybe about your families or where you grew up. Then it progresses a bit to church practices. What does your church do? What do we do? Maybe you get into a little theology. But finally, people get to the point where they'll share their spiritual journey, their vocation, what God has called them to do. That would be the deepest level. And it tends to go step by step, maybe even over a period of years.
I've done it. I'm sure many of you have as well. But that is grassroots. How is it being done on the diocesan level?
Well, each diocese has an ecumenical officer. They have a national association, and that person is responsible, usually with a diocesan ecumenism committee, for putting on events, for building bridges with the churches, Christian churches in their area, and seeing what the common needs are. Often they do social work together, feeding the homeless and that kind of thing.
And certainly the pro-life movement is a way that brings different denominations together.
Oh, absolutely. I've met many evangelicals, for example, down at the March.
So I wanted to look at a significant moment for ecumenism last year. Pope Francis asked the Patriarch of Constantinople for his blessing.
Di benedire me e la Chiesa di Roma.
The Pope saying, "Bless me and the Church of Rome." Unpack that moment as it relates to ecumenism.
Well, we've gotten great feedback on it because it's a symbolic moment. It speaks of humility, and not just Francis' humility, but of the Church, that we are brothers and sisters, and that is the message conveyed, and it's very important to our Orthodox friends. They think very highly of this Pope, and they think even more highly of his symbolic gestures.
It reminds me when he asked all of us to pray for him when he walked out on the loggia when he was elected, and he bowed for our prayers. So these two spiritual leaders have been together before at the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. What other ecumenical highlights do you want to mention from 2014?
Well, one is the role of Christian churches together, the biggest tent in the ecumenical movement. The Catholic bishops belong to it. This year we discussed mass incarceration, reconciliation, healing, came out with a very good statement on that, which is found on the Christian Churches Together website. And that will be significant for the long term in reclaiming people and their lives.
It seems like we're moving in a direction of unity, doesn't it?
We certainly are.
Father John Crossin, thank you for your input tonight.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.